The South Gauteng High Court has ruled in favour of Gareth Cliff in his wrongful dismissal case. The court has ordered that the media personality be reinstated as an SA Idols judge with immediate effect. Our reporter Nontobeko Sibisi is at the South Gauteng High Court for us. And Nonto, thanks very much for joining us right now. We know that this judgment was handed down just a few minutes ago, but we also know that the Idols auditions begin in a short while. What does this court ruling mean for Gareth Cliff?
Well, I'd definitely say it's certainly a big legal golden ticket for Gareth Cliff himself today. He's officially been interimly reinstated as one of the Idols judges. Now, we're told that as much as auditions do start today in Durban, his actual budget schedule kicks off on the 3rd of February. Cliff, of course, speaking to us after his appearance in court, pretty much trying to keep mum, but trying to hold his excitement, but definitely saying that he's thrilled. So we're going to have to wait until tomorrow to find out how exactly the two will be able to work a way forward. And this is the point in time, Joanne, where Mnet and Gareth Cliff will have to put together a unifying force if they're going to have to work together for the next year.
Interesting point, isn't it? Because we know that we've had analysts in studio speaking about the fractious relationship that has now been created as a result of this debacle, and how difficult it is to move forward creatively when there has been this kind of break in a relationship.
I mean, definitely, when we were in court on Tuesday, and Mnet's lawyers were pretty much saying that, and looking him in the face and saying that we don't want Gareth to be part of our brand, we don't want Gareth to be associated with Mnet. Even going to far as say that how is it that we can get someone who has a perceived reputation of being a poster boy of racism representing the brand? So that's far how Mnet is taking the argument, and they're pretty much saying that the image is pretty much tainted. Gareth's image is tainted and they do not want to be associated with it. And surely they have a right to say, Gareth, we are terminating your contract and we do not want to associate with you as being part of the brand. Whereas Gareth, on the other hand, is saying, but we had some sort of oral agreement between the two of us, and therefore you have to honor those obligations, which is exactly what the judge has found out today. She's looked at the arguments, she's looked at the papers before her, and from that she's established that there was definitely an oral agreement between these two parties, Joanne.
It's a very interesting thing from a commercial law point of view, isn't it? Because, one wouldn't have thought that a verbal agreement would have been able to stand up to such scrutiny in a court of law.
Definitely, Joanne. One of the first things that they did with Dalimpofu, he first looked at Mnet's own email communication and started pinpointing down various conversations dating back to December already, pretty much indicating that, okay, we're going to give you your contract as soon as we receive it, you know. He was getting email communication saying that, I know we're going to be we're going to be broadcasting at Theatre Week at the West Coast in KZN. So we need to find out what are your logistical accommodation that you need for your radio show. They also talked about his finances. I mean, they gave him a 6% increase to a figure of 377,000 for this season alone. So all those conversations, all those communications were basically leading to say that it supported the argument that there was some sort of oral agreement between the two. Of course, Mnet on the other side saying that they were just merely preparing for the next season. Nothing was ever written on paper.
And in terms of this next season going ahead, we know that Mnet hasn't spoken about the possibility of appealing this, but certainly it would be very disruptive for any series that has already started to get underway today, wouldn't it?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I mean, to be honest with you, Joanne, even just from the court proceedings on Tuesday, Mnet was already indicating that as the sole proprietors and the owners of Idols SA and the ones that are in charge of the brand at the moment, they're pretty much saying that they are entitled, even if Gareth was to be reinstated, they're entitled to terminate his contract and only give him a week's notice. And that's when you saw Dalimpofu saying, actually, they should test it and try it out, because either way, there still has to be some sort of legal reason, some sort of reason to justify a termination of contract. So it's interesting to see how these two big brands put aside their differences and try work together for at least this season. I'm not too sure if Mnet may have a couple of legalities up their sleeve. We're also going to have to wait and see if they'll be holding a press conference later on in the week, Joe.
Well, what hasn't been spoken about either by the judge or anyone else at this point, Nonto, is this issue of the 25 million rand which Gareth Cliff had said he wanted from Mnet. Now, I want to know, I'm interested to know at this point whether that amount is likely to fall away following the judge's ruling, or whether he will still claim some money for defamation.
Okay, we personally haven't received the judgment as of yet. I must be clear that the judge only gave her order, so we're still yet to go up through the judgment. But from what I can tell you, Joanne, from getting to the 25 million rand figure to begin with, 20 million rand was for breach of contract, and then the 5 million rand was for defamation of character. And Gareth's legal team have always been clear from the get-go, saying that their first prize is to get Gareth Cliff reinstated. From there on, the second step would be, if he's not reinstated, they're going to have to ask the court to halt the auditions that are taking place today until Gareth is reinstated, of which their last recourse would then be, does he actually go ahead and sue them for defamation of character, which is the 5 million, and the 20 million for breach of contract, which makes a collective amount of 25 million rand. So from now on, Joe, from what the indications that I'm getting from them is that they're just happy to be reinstated, but they will flesh out in their press conference tomorrow about a step going forward, especially about the 25 million rand.
After all the flack he took for taking on this case in the first place, Dali Mpofu, the advocate who represented Gareth Cliff in this case, must be a very happy man today, Nonto.
He definitely received a lot of criticism. We saw from EFF, we saw from the ANC Youth League. I mean, we even saw on Twitter, a lot of people were saying, how dare he does something like this? Why is he doing something like this? Because they took this as a racism fight, a racist fight against someone who's perceived to be, once again, the poster boy of racism. And Eric Mabuza was very quick to go on camera and also just say that why is it that when black lawyers get given such high-profile cases, we now have to find other negative things to talk about and trying to taint it? Why can't we just respect that Dali Mpofu will be able to do this job and just do it professionally and leave it there? But there have been a variety of arguments. It'll be interesting to see what Twitter or social media and even public opinions will be after this. Will it change, or will people be of the same opinion that Dali should have never represented Gareth Cliff to begin with?
Thank you so much for putting us in the picture. Live to us from the steps of the South Gauteng High Court, our reporter Nontobeko Sibisi.